This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest Kentucky Derby 2024 Contenders video. And right now it's Thursday, April 18th. The Kentucky Derby will be run Saturday, May 4th, a bit more than 2 weeks to go. I'm going to share the latest Derby news in this video. And if you're interested in reading my Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks reports, head on over to todaysracingdigest.com. When you get to their front page at the top near the left, you're going to see a Kentucky Derby tab. Click that tab. It'll take you over to the Digest Derby page, and there you will be able to read my Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks reports. I update both weekly. Every Monday, I update the Oaks, and every Tuesday, I update the Derby. And that special promo code offer is still going at Today's Racing Digest. If you want one free complete digest from now through the end of April, go over to the Complete Digest page at todaysracingdigest.com, and the Complete Digest tracks that they cover: Gulfstream, Keeneland, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita. You can get one free complete digest from one of those tracks by using promo code DERBY5424. In the description in this video, I'll provide that promo code and a link to the complete digest page. Now some of the latest Kentucky Derby news. You had Grade 1 Arkansas Derby winner Muth trying to get in through the court systems from a lawsuit from their owner to try to get him into the Kentucky Derby because his trainer, Bob Baffert, horses from his barn have been ineligible to run in the Kentucky Derby since 2022. In 2022 and 2023, and then the ban was extended through 2024. So his horses cannot run in the Derby. The owner had plenty of time to know that and to move to another barn, but he didn't. And then after he won the Arkansas Derby, they wanted to make him eligible for the Derby. So they tried. They were denied through the courts on April 18th. They're going to appeal that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I don't think he's going to be eligible to run in the Derby, but he can run in the Preakness Stakes, and we will probably see Muth in that Preakness Stakes. Now, trainer Bill Mott worked a couple of his horses, one for the Kentucky Oaks and one for the Kentucky Derby in company on April 18th. That's just FYI, your 2-year-old filly champion, and then Resilience, your Wood Memorial winner. They worked an easy half mile. Resilience went in 50-1, just FYI, 50 flat, but then Resilience had the better gallop out for 5 furlongs. So for Resilience, he's a good tactical contender, and then just FYI, another one that has tactical speed. So they were good workmates, and we'll see how they do coming up in the Oaks and the Derby. Now, over at todaysracingdigest.com, I updated my Kentucky Derby list on April 16th, went through some of the news, and some other Kentucky Derby news. No More Time. He was injured in a pre-Kentucky Derby workout on April 14th. He's scheduled to have surgery. He's off the Triple Crown Trail. They hope that he'll recover and be back later this year or sometime next year. But he's out, so that opens up a spot in the Kentucky Derby. TO Password is expected to arrive from Japan on April 26th. So he should be on the grounds at Churchill on April 26th. He's 2 for 2 overall, very lightly raced. He's going to be ridden by Kazushi Kimura, a top rider at Woodbine, and that pilot has been spending the winter at Santa Anita Park. And the Lexington Stakes was run last week, and I got my 14th Kentucky Derby points race winner home there when Encino got the job done switching surfaces for trainer Brad Cox. He defeated the Wine Steward. They were well clear of the rest. We'll have to see if they go in the Derby with Encino or wait for the Preakness. If they run in the Derby, he'll be coming back in 3 weeks. If they wait for the Preakness, they'll have 5 weeks between starts. The Wine Steward, a very good New York bred for trainer Mike Maker. He was second in Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland last year as well, and this race was his first start since then. So he was off several months, ran well here. And we'll have to see. Maybe they go for the Preakness, or they have New York bred stakes races down the road for him if he doesn't run well in upcoming graded races. So they have a lot of options for the Wine Steward. He can sprint. He can at least go a mile and a 16th. A good horse that should make some noise this year in one of the divisions, either in the New York bred stakes ranks or continuing to do well in some tougher races. Now, the top 20 Kentucky Derby points race leaders, Endlessly has 100 points. He's in, but we'll have to see if trainer Mike McCarthy wants to run him in the Derby. They're going to depend on his Churchill Downs workouts to see if they want to run in the Kentucky Derby on dirt or keep him on another surface like turf, where he's been very successful and run in the Grade 2 American Turf Stakes at Churchill on the Kentucky Derby undercard. So he'll either run in the Derby or in that race. He's had a couple workouts so far, and we'll have to see in his upcoming 2 workouts how he does and which direction they decide to go with him. Deterministic is another one that may or may not run in the Kentucky Derby. He won the Gotham Stakes earlier this year and then disappointed in the Wood Memorial. So Deterministic comes off that poor effort in the Wood. He has 50 Derby points. He has enough points to run. We'll have to see if his trainer, Christophe Clement, decides to run in the Derby, or maybe they go in the Peter Pan Stakes and try to target the Belmont Stakes. We'll have to see what they do with Deterministic. But right now, Encino is the 20th horse to get in because he won that Lexington Stakes. So 40 points get you in. Now, Grand Mo the First also has 40 points, but he's 21st on the list because Encino has better graded stakes earnings. So Grand Mo the First, if one of those horses decides to not run, a horse like Encino, I mentioned, maybe they don't go, Deterministic or Endlessly. If one of those horses come out, Grand Mo the First can move up and get into the Derby field. Other horses on the bubble that need more than one horse to drop out: Common Defense, Epic Ride. You have Uncle Heavy, Seize the Gray. So they're the top 26. The horses towards the bottom, like Seize the Gray, I don't know that many horses are going to drop out, but we do see every year horses come out of the Derby as we get closer to the race through injury or they decide not to run. So now looking at my top Kentucky Derby 2024 contenders as of April 16th, Sierra Leone has been my top-ranked Derby contender for quite some time, since early February, and he maintains that spot. Looked really good in the Risen Star Stakes in his first start this year, and then came right back in the Bluegrass Stakes and won that one from off the pace. So he likes to run late. He's a nose away from a perfect 4-for-4 record. He's a good closer. They paid $2.3 million for this one. Chad Brown is the trainer, and he's done well with some horses hitting the board in the Kentucky Derby, and this is probably his best chance to win the Kentucky Derby. Good Magic was second for him. Zandon was third. Maybe Sierra Leone from off the pace can get the job done. He's going to need a clean trip from off the pace, and he's going to need some pace help. But he has a lot of ability, very good closer. This one is a son of Gunrunner, and I would expect Sierra Leone to run a quality race in the Kentucky Derby if he has some good workouts coming up. He's got 2 workouts to go. He hasn't worked since the Bluegrass. He's going to have 2 works prior to the Kentucky Derby. Now, Fierceness had a good workout recently in company, and he's one that's the Kentucky Derby favorite, and rightfully so, after romping in the Florida Derby. Now, the big thing about Fierceness, they probably want to have an outer post because he had trouble at the start in his 2 losses. So with Fierceness, they probably want him to break towards the outside. They don't want him to be down on the inside and have like a stutter steps start, and then he could end up being behind the 8 ball. They would like to see him break cleanly from an outer post, either setting the pace or chasing from second and trying to put away his rivals. That's what he does best. He can blow the race open with his good natural speed and just take the closers right out of the race. We'll have to see how he runs in the Kentucky Derby. One of the things about him is he has not run 2 races alike. Every time that he won, he followed it with a loss. So he's got some things to overcome still, but he's got a lot of raw ability. He's very fast. He's got the best speed ratings, and Fierceness has a very good chance if he gets a clean start to win the Kentucky Derby. Catching Freedom is 3rd on my list for trainer Brad Cox. And for this one, I really like his dam sire, Pioneer of the Nile, because he was my Derby horse when he ran in the Derby, and he finished 2nd in the Derby. This one is a son of Constitution, and he won the Louisiana Derby last time out. He had a workout on April 5th, and then he worked again on April 13th. So he's just been a steady closer. The top 2 are going to have to not quite run their best race for a horse like Catching Freedom to win, but we've seen that happen before in the Derby, where all you have to do if the pace is fast is just be the best closer that particular day. And Catching Freedom will be there running his race. If the favorite stubbed their toe for whatever reason, he could be right there at the finish. Now, Forever Young is coming in from Japan, and he is a 5 for 5, and he won his first 3 starts in Japan. And for him, he came into Churchill Downs on April 13th, coming in from the Middle East. He won the Saudi Derby and the UAE Derby. Saudi Derby in Saudi Arabia, the UAE Derby in Dubai. He's already run in Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Dubai, and now he's coming to Churchill Downs. He's there now. He's getting acclimated early, and Forever Young is one that could jump up and run a decent race, although horses from the UAE Derby have yet to make an impact in the Kentucky Derby. Just a touch rounds out my top 5 right now. He was ranked 13th last week. I've moved him all the way up to 5th. He's one I've always liked. He's lightly raced, an unraced 2-year-old. He's trying to follow in the footsteps of Justify and then Mage, last year's Derby winner. So both of those horses were unraced 2-year-olds that were able to win the Kentucky Derby since 2018. In his debut in a sprint race, he looked really good winning that one. And then I picked him on top in the Gotham Stakes, and he ended up finishing second to Deterministic that day. And then in the Bluegrass Stakes, he stalked, he led. Sierra Leone ran him down. He was clearly second best. So for just a touch, his sire Justify was an unraced 2-year-old winner of the Kentucky Derby, and he tries to emulate his sire. Tappet is the damn sire. Good pedigree, 3 races. His best races should be in front of him, and he has that good tactical speed for trainer Brad Cox, and he could run a quality race. Some other Kentucky Derby contenders worth considering: Stronghold for trainer Phil D'Amato seems to be on the improve. He won the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby, the Grade 3 Sunland Derby before that. He always finishes in the top 3. He's got good tactical speed. Antonio Fresu rides him well. He's going to have to get faster, but I can see him working out a good trip under the Twin Spires. And then ranking 7th right now for me is Honor Marie. This horse won the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes at Churchill last fall. Disappointed in his first start this year in the Risen Star. Bounced back with a good second place finish in the Louisiana Derby. He has a good closing kick. I can see him finishing up nicely and maybe finishing somewhere in the Superfecta in the Kentucky Derby. So those are my top 7 Derby contenders right now. You can read my whole list of my exceptional 11, and then I also have the next 9 contenders as well. You can read my Kentucky Derby report, which includes all the latest workouts and the latest news for the Derby, and keep checking out my Oaks and Derby reports every Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to keep updating them throughout this Triple Crown series. And that'll do it for this video. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.